Welcome to episode 5 of the Snobcast. Today we are discussing the new Nicolas Cage movie, Stolen.
What movie this is?
As always, this conversation will contain spoilers. We will be discussing this movie from beginning to end.
Man, you have got to clean out that back seat before you sign off tonight. Yesterday, I had to put on a biohazard suit, hip waders, and rubber gloves, and I got the garden hoe and scraped that crap out there. Look like boogers, though. Jalapeno jelly, best home.
Alright, I'm your host, Jeff Bateman. With me today is David,
Ayo.
Joseph,
Ayo.
and Steve.
Correct.
So we watched the new Nicolas Cage movie. How does it compare to other Nicolas Cage movies?
When did this one come out?
This year.
This year?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it was in the theater.
I don't even remember.
Really?
I don't remember advertisements for it. I don't remember.
I thought it was direct to DVD.
Oh.
Yeah.
This is becoming increasingly kind of par for the course for Nicolas Cage movies, because what was that Joel Schumacher Nick Cage movie that we watched probably 6 months?
Trespassing.
Yeah, Trespassing. That was another one where it was in theaters for maybe 2 weeks.
Trespass.
Trespasser? Jurassic Park Trespasser?
It was bad.
It was pretty bad. At first it was kind of like, oh, it's not that bad, and then it just keeps going. And you're like, no, this is really, really insanely bad. Not so bad it's good either. Kind of in the same way that we're about to discuss.
Yeah, he hasn't done a good movie in a long time, and I think the only one he tried in could be Bad Lieutenant.
Bad Lieutenant, I think a lot of people like a lot, but that kind of utilizes a lot of his crazy talents. Not talents, just he's a crazy man.
As far as his more recent films go, I think Kick-Ass, his role in Kick-Ass is one of his better ones.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Yeah. He worked in that.
He did a little something.
But nobody would say
But
like,
that wasn't a very serious role. It was,
Right.
You know. Maybe that's what he needs to do now. Maybe it just needs to be Robert De Niro and just make a bunch of goofy, funny family comedies where it's like, oh, we're basically like Robert De Niro. His name in the title is the punchline.
that could be a possible solution, except
And he
that,
needs to grow facial hair, and he needs to do something else with the hair on his head.
well, that brings me to my next example, which is Sorcerer's Apprentice, which is a family movie. It is also ridiculously bad.
Any other Nicolas Cage movies we want to bring up? There's so many.
When I think
Well,
of
I'm thinking of the stuff he did where, what was that, where he was time traveling or something, or he was...
Next and
and his hair.
uh-huh.
Next and Knowing.
Yeah, all National Treasure, Next, Knowing, Nicolas Cage's hair,
So you're not
and
thinking
his face getting really strange looking because he wants to look young and sexy with that hair, and he wants to clean shave himself, and his mouth cheek area is not that looking too good. He should grow some facial hair. That's what I keep thinking. Like, just get some beard going on, cut what's up your shoulder, and you look kind of cool, kind of badass looking.
So when you think of Nick Cage, you don't think of like Face Off or Con Air. You're thinking about all this that comes to your mind when you first mention Nick Cage is some of his.
He's a guy who's
He's aging.
Yeah, he's aging.
Well, when you talk about Nick Cage, I mean, there's a new wave of Nick Cage.
There really is, yeah.
That's what people talk about. When
Is
you
that what
say-
people think of? They don't.
Yeah.
They don't think of Moonstruck.
You can bring those up,
Wild
but
at Heart.
yeah,
Yeah, Wild at Heart. Like people, I think mentioning David Lynch last week. I think that would be like that's an interesting movie that has Nick Cage in it. But that's not what we think of. Like I think of Gone in 60 Seconds,
yeah.
which is a pretty forgettable movie. Yeah, and there's people that really like the National Treasure movies. They think of that.
And also,
Ghost Rider.
yeah, Ghost Rider. That's what I was
Oof,
about to
there's
say.
two Ghost Rider movies now.
Two
Yeah.
Ghost Rider movies.
Okay.
I think that Season of the Witch is a good representation of
This wave of
this
Nicolas
wave
Cage.
of Nicolas Cage movies, because in that movie, to me, it seemed like he'd really just given up.
And just officially not cared about his legacy, you know. And as an
Yeah.
actor. Well, he's got
Because
bills to pay.
all of the characters except for Ron Perlman and Nicolas Cage's characters are trying to act, I guess you could say, like "Thou art noble knights" and stuff like that. Whereas the Nick Cage is like, "Oh, we'll kick your fucking ass," which it's just
I just wish there were more like Drive Angries out there, because that's a bad movie, but like Nicolas Cage is crazy in that movie, and I don't care how bad the movie is as long as it's like crazy fun Nicolas Cage. But he's just being so lazy in things like Stolen and Trespass and Season of the Witch. It's really disappointing. Like, he's not even good at being bad anymore.
Well,
When I think about being good at being bad for Nicolas Cage, I think Snake Eyes.
Yeah.
he is at 100% in that movie, regardless of all the ridiculous things happening in that movie. He's still whoa, whoa.
it's a really unlikable character
Yeah,
in that movie
yeah.
too.
Remarkably unlikable character as well.
Speaking of crazy Nick Cage, I mean, when's the last time you've seen Face Off?
It's been a while. I do remember him rolling his head in that priest outfit.
Yeah. I think it's a lot crazier than people remember.
But that's like crazy Nicolas Cage, but he was still trying. Like, that's a crazy ass character, and he just brought that to it. But like,
Well, he's also playing John Travolta too,
Yeah.
which is kind of crazy awesome, if you ask me.
I would say it's fabulous.
well, do you think Stolen had enough like crazy fun parts to be
No,
watchable?
no.
It definitely falls into the category of being bad,
Yeah,
not funny
the
bad.
old Nicolas Cage we know and love didn't make an appearance in this movie. I don't think. He just phoned it in. He came in on set. He drank his latte. He said his lines. He did phone stuff. Squinting into a phone when he's talking to it.
Yeah, he did kind of with this next phase of Nick Cage movies. He's kind of like in his what I call the sad dad phase of Nick Cage movies, where there's a lot of kind of confused faces and furrowed brows and talking confusedly into cell phones.
Do you guys remember this move?
Yeah.
This was his signature move in the
Oh
90s.
yeah.
What David is doing right now is frantically moving his index fingers in the air in a forward and backward motion.
What is your favorite Nicolas Cage role? Your favorite character you've seen him play? I think I've got one. Unless you guys.
Let me think. Oh, you go ahead and then I can think.
For me,
one.
I thought he was great in The Rock because he was I thought he was great in The Rock because he had the Nicolas Cage edge and badass, but at the same time he's also supposed to be a brainiac on the surface. Him also playing against Sean Connery too is also really cool. We're all having a good time here. Thank you, Nicolas Cage.
Steve is on his knees cursing the gods, holding up two flares.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I'm inclined to say adaptation, even though I don't like that movie that much. He's really fun to watch, and he plays the two roles really well.
I haven't seen Matchstick Man. Is he good in that one as well?
Not
Yeah,
really.
it's one of those later period Ridley Scott movies, kind of like what we were talking about with Prometheus.
Yeah.
I don't know. Depending on what day it is, like I might say Castor Troy from Face Off. Castor Troy is one of the best bad guy names.
I'm really leaning towards Castor Troy as well, but I don't know. I love Con Air. I think the point is that we are all pretty big Nick Cage fans, and so that's pretty much why we picked Stolen, right?
Yeah, no matter how much he lets us down, we just keep going for it because we're
Faith
just
is
waiting
strong.
for. You never know what he's gonna do, even in a movie like this, because this movie did have its few little moments that really pleased us in only the way Nick Cage can.
That's the thing. Like usually, I think that he kind of has that brand loyalty with us because he will throw himself at the most ridiculous ideas, and
Yeah.
up until the last maybe few years, like you can kind of be like, well, whatever it is, whatever kooky like he's going to find a map on the Declaration of Independence. I'm going to see what he does.
And this movie is a goofy idea. Like,
Yeah.
what kind of movie is this?
Well, I was actually gonna say the opposite. Is that the reason why this movie is so terrible? Is because it is so derivative.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it's
because
pretty
it's
derivative.
It's like-
extremely derivative of sort of Ocean's 11
James
type
Bond,
heist movies, and then the second half is completely derivative from Taken. Whereas if you look at these other movies that we like, or even the ones that we don't like that are still hilarious, like Season of the Witch,
right.
Face Off, all those movies are crazy, and he's playing a crazy character.
I guess a lot of the genre of this movie is pretty derivative, but I just when I was watching it and I realized the story was that he was a thief who goes to prison and then his ex-partner loses his leg and steals his daughter and now he has to get her back, but he burned the money. It's just,
Yeah, no, that's what's
it's a really bizarre setup.
I don't know if it's interesting, but it is kind of odd that the main villain in this movie is so mistaken about everything. Like, it's like, oh, he cost me my leg and blah, 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 blah. Like, everything that
Yeah.
he blames Nick Cage for is not true. And that's not even really kind of dealt with It's just kind of like, oh, he has my daughter. I better go find
You
her.
hit that old man.
And I think that another big problem with this movie is the villain and Nick Cage as well, because when I think of a heist movie, or the ones that I have seen, it's usually, you know, they bring together a team of amazing individuals that have these unique personalities, and each one brings something both to the film and to the heist. Whereas, I mean, can we discuss, you know, the characters in his heist team? Well, I mean, you look at the building blocks of this kind of movie, and, you know, the sort of base of the pyramid is the heist team, the characters, and maybe there's one detail you could mention about each one, like the old guy, he's a sexist, and I don't know, Malin Ackerman is just the most 2D.
She's hot.
She's hot, I guess.
She's the chick.
Nick Cage has a heart of gold.
But like we don't get to know the team. We're just kind of introduced to them real quick, and then they do their heist thing, and Nicolas Cage is left behind, and then like we don't care about the team anymore. The girl works at the bar. The big old guy, he gets killed pretty quick. It's like we don't care about the team. I haven't seen this much disregard for a team since Mission Impossible. You know, Mission Impossible
the team in Mission Impossible actually played more of a part. I feel like
I
feel like the heist in this movie is a MacGuffin and an excuse to be able to justify the end of the movie, where they're getting the gold.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a heist movie. It's kind of like a setup to where we can get to the stolen and how we resolve the stolen aspect of the movie, which is
so
really
so
weird.
it's a red herring with a really stereotypical music at the beginning and the silly car chase. That's just luring us in to thinking we're watching a heist movie, when then all of a sudden we are stolen.
Our hearts are stolen. I would like to say that because this wasn't directed by a Michael Bay or something like that, I was pleasantly surprised to not have an African American character in this movie go like, "Oh, black people are we can't do these kind of heists anymore."
They had a lot of opportunities.
They did. They were in New Orleans. They could have done so many bad racist things.
There was one kind of
There
stereotypical.
were eccentric New
Norlander.
Orleans black guys.
There was
but
one.
There
was one eccentric New Orleans black guy.
Yeah.
But he didn't say anything
He
stereotypically
didn't, but we
racist.
didn't really single his race out though in this scene. It was more like that's New Orleans talking.
That's that
And-
Raging Cajun.
And he was the only character in the movie with any sort of regional accent or
Yeah.
dialect.
I
They,
the other
they
guy-
set it in New Orleans and then did absolutely nothing with the setting.
They did kind of use it in the stolen aspect. He was using like the noise and the busyness of Mardi Gras to steal that girl and drive around with her in his trunk.
But he
Yeah.
also had a secret lair that he took her to, and then
Yeah.
just was like, "Well, I'm gonna go drive around and put myself in at more risk."
Yeah.
Why did he leave the lair where he could do things in secret and hiding? I thought the series was going to spend most of his time, talking to Nicolas Cage over the phone and stuff like that.
I don't know.
Because then we wouldn't have a movie.
Because they thought it was a clever idea for him to put her in the trunk. Probably that was probably their starting off point when they
There's a
wrote
girl.
the screenplay.
In the trunk. Go with him.
She's stolen.
Will Montgomery, bring out the money and yourself. Slow. Real slow.
This movie also attempted to deliver action. How did it do in terms of delivering action?
It was the minimum legal requirement of
It
action.
was pretty weak sauce. There was a part where the cars are trying to bump each other in between these beams that they're going past, which was kind of stupid looking and didn't quite work out as well as they'd hoped. And
Even they look bored.
yeah, they looked
he
bored
fist
while they
fights
were.
two cops in the beginning.
He does a lot of he does a few like jump moves and some throat punching in this movie.
There was a balcony to rooftop jump that Nicolas Cage did, albeit some wire foo. So
And there was a pretty cool car flip at one point.
When was that?
When he flipped the car, when he throat punched the two guys in the front of the
yeah,
car.
when he
When he
broke
broke
his
his
hand through the
wrist.
he broke his hand.
He
to get
dislocated his thumb to get out of handcuffs.
They don't really resolve that.
No.
He was running around the rest of the movie with a broken.
Oh, no, no,
hand.
no. When he was on the phone, he...
Yeah.
Oh.
He was like, where's my daughter, baby? Oh! Wait, never mind.
But yeah, it is strange that most of the action is from behind the wheel.
Like, there was two
Like-
scenes which they pretty much used the same strip of, like, suburban road with that concrete divider.
Yeah, I saw that a number of times.
And what it is just probably like a quarter mile of straight road that they're just tearing ass through. Like, that's the action.
No obstacle, no nothing, but they still cut to Nicolas Cage's hands on the
Yeah.
steering wheel and his clenching teeth. It's like,
They just
Well, they actually do, like, zoom-ins
They
onto
snap
his face.
zoom.
Like,
Yeah, yeah. At the end of that scene, it was just him driving straight,
Yeah.
and then the camera zoomed in on his face, and it cut to the next scene.
It's like these Bruce Lee snap zooms, yeah, just right into his face. I don't know. It was very odd. But yeah, that's what passes as action in this movie in particular. But we're staunchly into Taken territory at this point. His daughter that he doesn't relate to has been abducted, and now he needs to use his thief know-how to get her back.
Is that his specific set of skills?
Yeah, he is a thief
Yeah.
class.
You know what? But you see, here's the thing. I want to talk about Nicolas Cage and Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson's age, for some reason, makes it feel more like he's legit as a fighting force of human raw energy and emotion, whereas for some reason Cage, you're not getting the same sense that his age is therefore makes him a seasoned fighter or something.
And I think Taken did a much better job with the daughter character. Because, I mean, you might not necessarily like the daughter in Taken, but you at least understand her perspective more and sort of what's going on with her. Whereas you get maybe 2 lines of explanation about the daughter's character
Yeah.
in this movie.
I don't think the actress was that bad. I think it was a poorly written character that actress had to deal with and work from, and she obviously wasn't under any really good direction. She was doing her best on her own. I would like to see the same actress progress on into better roles under better direction in better movies, you know.
So what you're saying is... if
Don't
we...
blame the actress, blame the circumstances they had
Yeah,
to deal
right. So what you're saying is Liam Neeson should play Nicolas Cage's part, and Nicolas Cage should play the bad guy's part.
Absolutely.
with. Yeah, there we go. Problem solved. That's it. Right there.
Absolutely.
Boom. Next movie.
Like, there's such a fine line between good bad and bad bad that this kind of has the bad triple crown. Like, it has bad casting, it has bad direction, and it has bad writing. And you only intermittently get things that are, like, accidentally funny, or things that they think are really, really cool when they're not. Like Nick Cage swinging on a wire and removing that wire digitally, but still obviously swinging in like Peter Pan on a stage play. Like, that's funny. You know, that's a decision that was made and not kind of cut around.
There was a lot of weird decisions made in this movie, like Danny Houston's hats
Yes.
after the beginning.
Yeah, like, oh, he gets out of jail. Nicolas Cage gets out of jail. They pick him up, and, hey, it's 8 years later, I have a new hat. This is my character thing. This is what I do.
Is that supposed to show his age? Or-
It's
Yeah,
like-
I think it's supposed to give you the impression that time has passed.
I
Because now he's wearing a hat.
I went to a mall. They had one of these kiosks. I saw one of these hats that I liked, and it's my thing. This is what I do now. I'm the New Orleans cop.
Look, in all honesty, anything can happen in 8 years.
It's true.
Maybe you just might buy a hat.
Well, his
I
wife
might-
left him, and there was a big hole in his life, and
A hat
a
filled
hat,
the void.
a hat-shaped hole.
And remember at the end, he's wearing a different hat.
You know what's funny is that in 8 years, too little has happened to the police officers, but too much has happened to the bad guy. Like, he's jumped forward like 20 years. or
That's an
something.
excellent point. So, I mean, like, the bad guy, the antagonist in this movie, looks like 20 years has passed, and he's been in a gang that was run by a werewolf.
And it just makes no sense because the other 2 bad guys that didn't go to prison, Malin Ackerman and I think the character's
Fatty.
name's Hoyt, Fatty Hoyt,
The guy from Lost.
the guy from Lost.
Yeah.
Neither of them are in prison.
No.
Nothing bad has happened to either of them.
No.
But then the other guy was like, I had to cut my fingers off and fake my own death. It's like,
He is-
no, you really didn't.
He is quite possibly the most incompetent bad guy ever. because the other two managed to evade the cops without having to fake their death and cut off their fingers, and this one guy's just cutting himself up and like mutilating himself and all sorts of
And
shit.
he clearly never went to the doctor for that leg wound.
That's
and
why
that's
he lost
why he had
his
to cut it
leg.
off.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I was trying to picture what was happening in what we didn't see. Like, okay, so Hoyt decides to like, hey, we're leaving Nick Cage here. They pull off and they go away. What is the scene that we don't get to see that happens there? Like, they all go their different ways, and it's like, well, you take yourself to the hospital. I'm gonna go live as a shut-in in this crazy apartment that's only 3 blocks away, and this other chick's gonna work in a bar. See you in 8 years. What happened? Why did he feel like he had to?
Because he's an asshole. I'm assuming he kept trying to like rob banks or do something wrong because he had to fake his death.
He had to fake his
And
he had
cut
to
off his fingers.
Cut off his fingers, put it on another corpse, and set that corpse on fire, in order to have them think that he's
I
dead.
blame you for the numb. But they make it pretty clear that Nick Cage didn't snitch.
Right.
And he's really excited to hear from this guy on the phone when he calls him initially with the secret phone.
Right. This movie also features some of the worst police work
Oh,
that you
man.
could imagine.
You wonder if they ever solve any crimes with how incompetent and stupid they are. Seriously.
That's such a bad thing to have. Is like when you're so far ahead of the characters that you're watching, that's when you lose interest, I think, ultimately. Like, you can stick around for bad movies.
Yeah.
The ones that are bad, but when you're so far ahead of what's going on, it's just like...
You guys remember what part I really got mad at and I started yelling at the TV over was when they find out that the bad guy who faked his death was alive. And it's kind of like when you're just so narrow-minded, you're only looking at the scenes in chunks and you're just trying to go by the cliches that are supposed to happen. The cliche you're trying to capture does not fit the broader picture of the movie. And when the cops find out that the guy they thought was dead is actually alive, he faked his death, and not only that, that kind of vindicates everything Nicolas Cage says. They just kind of schlep it off and go, yeah, it looks like he was alive after all. Well, let's just sort of shuffle our way over to our cars now. It's like, you don't realize the gravity of... I understand in the cop films, when they found out someone's dead, they're supposed to have this, like, almost like I knew all along kind of attitude about it, but that fucking doesn't work. It just...
Because that character did not think that.
Yeah. So for them to go, looks like he was alive after all. Let's just cop our way out of the set piece now. It's like, don't. You're supposed to go, holy fuck, he was alive all along. Shit, this is really embarrassing.
Yeah, none of that
I
happened.
mean, kidnapping is FBI jurisdiction, right? Like, that's one of their main jobs.
It's pointless. It's one of those things where these plot points are written out and then you connect the dots to that. Even though that doesn't make sense, like, that's a plot point that needs to happen. We need to have the FBI agents on Nick Cage's side, but it seems like it's out of a totally different movie where it's kind of like...
It's kind of a Law and Order episode is also happening at the same time in here too.
Yeah, it just switched gears completely to like, oh yeah, I do it the whole... My hat was telling me the whole time that this guy went to insane lengths to fake his death for no apparent reason whatsoever. And by the way, like, could you rob a bank like that, get $10 million, and then when the cops are outside, just burn the money, and then you can't get the full sentence because they don't have the money?
Apparently.
Because they don't have the evidence?
Yeah, as opposed to everything else being the evidence, the fact that the money is missing...
From the cop
that the
car
money,
that he stole?
Yeah, that the money is no longer in the bank's possession. So you could steal anything, and as long as you hide it properly after you stole it, you get a lighter sentence. So
Yeah,
is that the logic, basically?
8 years may sound like a long time to be in jail, but this guy endangered a lot of lives, stole a cop car, punched 2 cops in the throat, stole $10 million, committed a heist.
Yeah, what judge is going to give that guy 8 years? Seriously. You've
Well,
officially
I
made it
think
clear that you're in danger to
I
society.
think he's learned his lesson. I think 8 years.
Well, not only that, I mean, you would imagine he had have like a longer record because they do set him up again as like this great thief, and the guy's, his team doesn't do too easy.
So there's a little Gone in 60 Seconds for you there, where it's like, but unlike that, it's like he doesn't have to pull another heist. Well, yeah, I guess he does have to pull another heist.
Which seemed like a much easier and less dangerous heist, stealing the gold with the flamethrower.
Then the intro, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, why didn't they just do that in the first place?
I don't know. Because he wanted the cash instead of... Because that's the thing, too. Like, can you imagine Nick Cage going... Like, who's his melted gold fence? Like, who's going to, like, hey, here you go, buddy. Give me $10 million in melty gold. Like, who's going to... What are you going to do with all that melty gold?
go?
Just want to see if I can get a little gold out of it.
That gold line.
Yeah, that's what I'm
That
thinking.
is, that was exceptional.
Yeah, that's made it worthwhile. That one little scene.
And he's also doing the face with those goggles on. Just see if I get some more gold out of it. You're trying to save your daughter, right? Like, he just
Well, it's a
he
means
just
to an
started getting
end.
really excited about all that gold.
Yeah, it's a means to an end. Like he gets the gold, he gets his daughter. You know, that's what it's coming.
There's a part at the beginning when they arrest him. They say, "What do they? How did the line go?"
Okay, so he's Nick Cage. He had just committed the robbery in the beginning of the movie. Is what's setting up the movie, and they have him surrounded apparently, even though there's 3 cop cars and 1 door, and they say,
They say, "Come
"Come out with the money, and yourself."
Yeah.
It's like
They're
don't
just trying
don't just give us the money and run away. Bring yourself out too. Which I thought
Give us the money, and if you could, please, by all means, bring yourself as well.
return the Tupperware, please.
Another line, I think, when he first gets out of jail, that cop says, "I hope you got raped every day."
Why does he feel so adamant about that? Why would that be something? Because he's a cop, and Nicolas Cage is a thief.
It's just it's I think basically what that's supposed to be is just lazy positioning on the part of the writer. They want you to sympathize with Nicolas Cage. They want you to look at the cops with scorn and distress. So you've got to have a cop say some asshole line to make the audience want to defend Nicolas Cage and say, "Hey, leave him alone, you asshole." Like, how could you say that to him? You know, it's just lazy positioning. That's the reason why that line exists.
That's probably the closest thing that we have to a Michael Bay line, right?
Yeah.
Where it's just like, man, no human being like.
Nobody's a human being here. They just exist to be so obvious of who we're supposed to be root for and who we're supposed to be,
Yeah.
who we're supposed to, have a, dislike.
Be actually kind of interesting to take that line. Like, was he on camera saying that line, or was that kind of?
he was.
It'd be kind of interesting to take that thing and spice it in with like different scenes and stuff like that. like the
I
old
hope
lady.
you were getting raped.
The old lady from Driving Miss Daisy. Just like, jeez, like, what's your problem?
The bad guy doesn't have any really good lines, does he? They're all stupid.
The
Didn't he
hurricane line.
Hurricane line. Didn't he also say something like "I'm a fucking Picasso" or when he's like when they're doing the camera?
Oh, that was pretty weird.
Yeah, and he's getting the girl into the back.
I think
into the
he said,
trunk.
"I used to be a golden boy, and now I'm a Picasso."
What does that mean?
Because before he wasn't a golden boy, he was a crazy bank robber that was really eager to murder an old man.
He was also like not that good of a bank robber.
No.
Right.
What's funny is, let's see. Let's try to analyze this bad guy before he becomes Nick Nolte.
Sure.
Or, he wants the gold, right? Like, isn't he get distracted while Nicolas
Yes.
Cage he's like, I want the gold. Like,
Yes.
he's like a leprechaun or something. He wants to shoot the old black guy.
He hates CCR.
He hates Creedence Clearwater Revival. When they were assembling their team to do this bank robbery, did any of these warning signs come up when they were getting their assembling team? You're like, this guy's going to be trouble. Like, and all the warning signs are right there. Like, it's so obvious. Like, why would this incompetent asshole idiot fuckface be on this team of professional thieves?
Well, it's really 2 guys and the chick from Watchmen. That's really what
He's kind of like an
isn't Nicolas Cage supposed to be in charge, right?
Yeah.
Why would Nicolas Cage? It's just like...
Well, he's like an impulsive 13-year-old girl. He's obsessed with gold and...
Yeah, and all the more
violence.
reason why Nicolas Cage's like, oh, you're not on my team. It's just kind of like...
And he doesn't like Dad's old music.
Yep.
So the daughter gets him really jealous because in his mind, Nick Cage picked his daughter over their life of crime.
Oh yeah, that is kind of stupid though. It's like you picked your daughter over me, your buddy. It's like such a stupid fucking.
Is that actually part of the movie?
I think that's what they were saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Wow.
chose her over me, your crazy asshole buddy.
Right.
Stupid movie. Dumb.
Stupid movie.
Stupid movie.
Bad. Bad.
No.
Bad movie.
No.
No.
No. Bad movie.
Stop it.
Thanks for listening to the Snobcast. Please send feedback to the snobcastfeedback@gmail.com. Check out our Facebook, Tumblr, and YouTube accounts, username The Snobcast.
The only thing with any balls to come to this town was the hurricane!